and then Akrura. Yeah, Vandanam. Yeah, he does get into trouble sometimes, Akrura, but he's quite nice on generally. He says then Hanumanji. Yeah, Dasyam, becoming the servant and executing the orders of the Lord, and then Arjuna. That's an easy one. Yeah, Sakyam, becoming his friend, and then Bali Maharaj. Atma Nivedanam, surrendering everything to the Lord. So the 9 processes of devotion service are there, and they're beautiful. Any one of these 9 processes can give full perfection. So the time is flying by. So there are quite a few other verses that I can recite, but I think what I always do is at the end I always try to encourage devotees to do in a mood of helping other fallen, conditioned souls, and by preaching and things like that. So I was hearing Radhanath Maharaj speaking a lecture, and he was saying Krishna consciousness movement means being compassionate and helping other living entities. It's like, it's not all right, I'm all right, Jack, I'm not worried about anybody else. That's not the mood of a devotee. A devotee means that, he wants to help everyone come to the shelter of the Lord, somehow or other, and Sankirtan is a wonderful process by which we can do that. So that we go out chanting, Govinda Prabhu, he's out, all the time, and encouraging devotees to do Harinam, Sankirtan. Devotees are out distributing books. But some people may be shy and said, I'm very shy, and to go and approach somebody or do this, do that. So like Dwarkapuri, he's like 65 now, he's an old man, but he you don't see him out on Harinam often or on book distribution, but he said, let me plant so many nice flowers and put them all around the temple, so when people come, they find it very beautiful. The temple is so nice that they're attracted to Krishna. So that's also preaching, Or they cook prasadam, and it's such nice, it's made with such great devotion, and people have that, they think, wow, I'm going to look into this. This is really, when the deities are decorated and dressed so beautifully, this is also preaching, They clean the temple, all that. There's so many different activities you can do for preaching. So I'll just go through a few Sankirtan stories quickly. So when I was up in Scotland, I was there for 17 years, I met Govinda there. So we were distributing a lot of books there. So I met this Scottish lady, and she said, do you help the homeless? So at that point, we didn't actually have a project specifically for homeless people, but then I thought, if I tell her we don't help the homeless, she won't give a donation and take a book. So then I said, Madam, we do even better than that. We help even the hopeless. She said, you help the hopeless? Yeah, I said, there's a lot of hopeless people out there. Probably more than homeless. She said, okay, I'll give for that, Or I could say, we help the Omless, the people who have lost their connection to Om, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay. And then Srila Prabhupada, he was riding in a car with the senior Guru Das who was with him, and Guru Das was looking out the window, and he was saying, he said, Srila Prabhupada, when I see these people out here, sometimes I feel, very compassionate and sorry for them. And Srila Prabhupada looked at him and said, only sometimes, Guru Das, only sometimes. So devotee's mood is to be always compassionate, So Neela Madhav Das, our chairman, he was out doing Harinam one day in St. Albans, and they said to him, okay, you will do the singing, you distribute the books, So he was distributing the books. So he approached one lady, and she said to him, why don't you get a proper job? Anyway, he didn't say anything to her, but I told Neela, I said, you could have given her your card and say, look, I do funerals, I'm a funeral director, I could do your funeral for you. So in Edinburgh, where Govinda comes from, we were doing Sankirtan there practically every day of the week. And then one day, there was a devotee called Bhakta Ian. He's now Nrsimha Vallabha in Leicester. So he won't believe it, but there was one policeman who really didn't like us. So he arrested Bhakta Ian 3 times in one day. So he would take him to the police station, take all his books, take any money off him, and say, okay, don't do it, and get out, Then he would go back to the van and get more books and start again. So 3 times he got arrested in one day. And then the next day we were going to Edinburgh, and they said, okay, take Ian to Edinburgh. I was thinking, oh my God. But then we had something special that day. We were doing a can collection, and, you get 2 days a year or something where you get a permit from the council. So we were on Princess Street, and we were, distributing books and getting donations. And this car pulled up, and these 2 policemen jumped out. We call him Super Cop, He's the one arrested Nrsingadev Das the day before 3 times. He said, right, I've got you now. I said to him, officer, we have a permit. He said, if you have a permit, I'll eat my shoe. So then that day we had the permit, so I pulled out the permit. So I said, oh, go on then, eat your shoe. Then his friend said, well, he stood in some dog muck, so he might not want to eat his shoe, So in Leicester, I was distributing some books in Leicester by the clock tower, and I saw this one man. He was about 30 years old, but he looked quite rough. He had a few scars on his face, and so I said, I tried to give him a book. I said, this book is about, spiritual knowledge, and it'll teach you how to understand who we are and what we should be doing in this world, So then he took the book, and he was looking at the book, and then suddenly his expression changed, and he said, no, I can't take it. And he gave me the book back. I said, why can't you take it? He said, I've done too many bad things. So I was thinking, I was praying, he really needs a book, I was praying, and then suddenly, I never said it to anybody else before, but it just came out. I said to him, every saint has a past, and every sinner has a future. So he thought, and he said, okay, give me the book. And it's true, we weren't all saints. I mean, like Valmiki, Mugrari, so many, so it doesn't matter where you are in life, we have opportunity, So he took the book, So sometimes what we would do to distribute the holy name, in Scotland we went a bit, against the rules, but we didn't mind. The Scottish are a bit more rough and ready. They're not so politically correct as the English. So we were thinking, it's Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, this is their age, so we'll get everyone to chant their name. So as we were driving, we'd stop the car and call somebody, excuse me, we're looking for directions. Can you tell us where Gauranga Street is? And they would say, Gauranga Street, Gauranga Street, Gauranga Street. I said, I don't know where Gauranga Street is. Say, oh, do you know where Nitai Close is? He says, Nitai Close? I don't know where Nitai Close is. We said, okay, fine, your job's done. Because we were saying, like, well, after how many lifetimes did this person chant the holy name, So we would do that. And then we started to put it on the motorway bridges. We would climb up at night, climb over without the harness, and put, each letter was the big A3, poster. We put it up, Gauranga, on both sides, We used to put it, we thought, let's get the holy name out there, and it's Bhaja Gauranga, Kaha Gauranga, La Gauranga Naam Re, Jejan Gauranga Bhaje, Se Amara Pran Re. Whoever worships Gauranga, they call out Gauranga, they take the name of Gauranga. Lord Nityananda is so pleased with them that they become more dear to him than his own life, So we thought, well, if they say Gauranga, then Lord Nityananda is going to get them, So we were getting everyone to say Gauranga, putting on the motorways and things like that. So we met a businessman in York. He was in a nice suit, and he bought Science of Self-Realization for £10. Then I said to him, everyone that we would stop, we would say, can you say Gauranga, whether they took a book or not? And he said, Gauranga. He said, Gauranga. He said, that's been doing my head in. I said, how's it been doing your head in? He said, for the last 6 years I've been driving to work, and I go under a bridge, it's got Gauranga on, And I've been trying to figure out what it means. I said, do you want me to tell you what it means? He said, no, let me guess. Is it the name of a company that builds bridges? I said, yeah, Lord Gauranga builds a bridge over the ocean of birth and death. So, and then in Dewsbury, in Yorkshire, I met an old lady, English lady. She bought a chant and be happy for £2. And I said to her, "Can you say Goranga?" She said, "I know what that means." I said, "Yeah, what do you think it means?" He said, "It means have a safe journey." I said, how do you come to that conclusion? She said, "It's up on the motorways." Yeah, so, there's so many different things, We were doing door-to-door one time and in Leicester, and we knocked on this door, and this lady opened the door with a frown on her face, I said, "We're from Hare Krishna temple, we've got some nice incense and books, and, we have different things, would you like to take a book or something and give a donation?" She said, "I'm not interesting." I said, "Well, that may be the case, but the books are very interesting." Then she slammed the door, But those houses were all right next to each other. And then we just knocked next door, and then they opened. They said, "We tried speaking to your neighbor, but she said she's not interesting." And she said, "Yes, she's a right old hag." And they said, "Don't worry, we'll buy your books." They bought some books. So, and we've got to end now. So the whole point is somehow or other to give the mercy to those unfortunate souls. Give the holy names, give books, give prasad, give association. Anything to bring them back to the shelter of the lotus feet. And when we are giving, then we are receiving, And but otherwise, if we are miserly, then, we're not getting the mercy either, The Lord Chaitanya Sankirtan movement is to inundate everybody with love of God, And we are so fortunate, we are right in the middle of it, We are saturated with the mercy. So, yeah, just even in whatever small way, if you're going out somewhere, keep some prasadam in your bag, or have a book with you, or, there was one, I'll end with this one story. There was one devotee in Scotland, he was a grihasta, and he was a taxi driver, and we said to him, "We're putting it on the bridges, we're getting everyone to chant Gauranga, we're distributing millions of books. Can you not just get your passengers to say Gauranga or something, or give them a book?" He said, "Well, I was very shy." So then we were encouraging him. One day he came back. His name was Mark, and he got initiated as Megasham. He said, "I've got it now. I've worked it out." He said, "What is?" So he said, "When I'm giving them change, I say, 'There you go, pal.'" So, "There you go, pal. There you go. There you go, pal." So he said, "I'm giving them the holy name." So yeah, somehow or other, give the holy name. Do something. Anyway, I've gone over time as usual. So thank you very much for your patience and your time. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Sankirtan Yagya ki jai, month of Kartik ki jai. Hare Krishna.